This is our second time here. We're super excited to get a chance to talk with Mr. Ruettiger today. I think Mr. Ruettiger probably needs no intro, but very briefly, you've all probably seen the film Rudy about his story, and we're going to talk, I think specifically to start, about some of his naval service, which doesn't get highlighted in the film. And then we'll talk about his experience at Notre Dame and since then. So Rudy, thanks for being here.
It's an honor. Honor to listen to the great Americans up here. Wow.
Yeah.
Really? Weren't they awesome?
Yeah, cool
My goodness.
guys.
They were awesome.
So Rudy, if I can, I want to start with kind of, tell us about growing up and how you ended up in the Navy, because that part gets skipped in the movie, right? So I want to focus on that, because I truthfully didn't know you were in the Navy until we started preparing for this panel. So I'm like
That's
captivated.
Awesome.
I want to hear.
Yeah, me too.
So tell us about that.
Well, first of all, I'm one of 14. So you learn a lot with 7 brothers and 7 sisters, and when it was time to leave the house, you couldn't wait to leave. In high school, this is where the problems came in. Was in high school, I had a learning disorder, and no one knew how to handle that. So I didn't do very well in school, and you were put down and bullied by certain people, and you graduate very low in your class. But there was something inside of you that says you could be somebody. That's all I wanted to be, was somebody. And people stop you from doing that. Some people that you respect, they will tell you, no, that'll never happen to you because you're not that type of guy. So those dreams were shattered because I wanted to play for the New York Yankees and play for Notre Dame. I didn't play for the Yankees, but I did play for Notre Dame. How did that happen? To go to Notre Dame, academically you have to make it first. So academically, I was 3rd in my class in high school from the bottom. What are my chances, right? That's not a good, those are not good credentials. Second of all, this is where you have to be a good athlete to go to Notre Dame. Well, I'm just an average guy. Now watch what average people do in great situations. They empower the great ones to be better in what they do. And you don't know that because most people forget their dreams, or they give up on their dreams and whatever. So in high school, I left with a dream, actually. And I went to work. And I was going to work, I was going to get drafted, and I decided to join the Navy. I didn't want to get drafted. So I went down to the Navy recruiter, and I asked him a simple question. They told me you had to be smart to come in the Navy. The guy said, who told you that? I said, my teacher, my counselor. He said, dude, if you could, here, he took a mirror out. He said, breathe in this mirror. So I did. He said, you're in the Navy, He says, now here's the other question. He said, the only thing you have to do in the Navy when you go to boot camp, you got to fold underwear, dude. Can you do that? I said, yes, sir. Because that's what I had to do when I had bad report cards. I had to fold underwear with my mother. That's a lot, right? But we never had our own underwear because we always stole each other's underwear. Now watch what how gratitude comes in. And a lot of you guys will know this by going to the Naval Academy. Everybody wears the same underwear, same clothes, same socks, same. And in boot camp, you get the same haircut. So everybody looks the same. You're not entitled to anything. Now it's a merit type of deal. And I had good work ethic from my father. So I knew if you worked hard, you can get somewhere. But you got to get better at what you do. So make a long story short, when I joined the Navy, ended up at boot camp, here's where the difference comes. I still did not have confidence in me. Once you have confidence in you, you dream big. And you dream big. Wherever your skills are, your talent, you start dreaming things that you never thought you would do, that you will do in your mind. Well, when that, I don't know if you ever had brand new underwear for the first time, what that's like. Pretty awesome, right? Then they stamp your name on the back of the underwear. The dude next to you can't take your underwear, like your brother did, right? So now you have a spirit of joy, and people will steal your joy if you tell them what you just got. You don't say anything. Keep it to yourself. Keep that joy. I got new underwear, man. This is odd. And you get new socks and your shoe. So all this gratitude comes into one, and now you're ready to do what you need to do. You're not ready to do what you need to do, but when you have confidence, you will do what you need to do when you need to do it. If that makes sense. I was a good underwear folder in boot camp, and that drill instructor saw my foot locker. He said, dude, I've never seen this happen before, shipmate. We usually go through a lot of issues with these guys. Show these guys how to fold underwear. I became a leader in boot camp, and I have to be that smart. Think about it. It's not about how smart you are, it's how much do you care. And I heard a word trust here with the SEALs. And if people trust you, you can be anybody you want to be, because they will empower you to help you do what you need to do. You may not be the best, but you're part of that team. So that's kind of like where the Navy paid off for me. I went in there very confident, and the only time my dad really hugged me was when I got out of boot camp. He shook my hand when I graduated from Notre Dame, but he hugged me because he's a World War II veteran. He was on the B-17 bomber. He had 22 missions, so he knew the struggle I had to go through to become a man. When you become a man, that's a big part for your parents. And they want you to become that person. So when you have that, now you're going to have bad choices along the way. You get around the different guys that won't give you the best decision to do certain things. That's where parenting came in. That's where your culture comes in. So you learn to do the right things by having a spiritual life. And that's what saved me.
So Rudy, right before we got on, you talked about how at Notre Dame they treat the walk-ons different, right? And you mentioned how going through the Navy, you kind of had thick skin built in. So a lot of can you talk to us a little bit about 2 or 3 things in the Navy?
Well, yeah,
that kind of
I had something that the SEALs had, was heart.
Yep.
And when you have heart, you can do it. Especially in that, if you don't have heart, you can't be a SEAL. It's that simple. And if you have heart, you can go anywhere. That means you're going to give it your all, and you're going to put your life on the line, and you're going to do it for the team, not for you, but for the team. And that's what I felt like at Notre Dame. That's what I learned in the military. You know, you all become one. I'd never ask my guy next to me, hey, man, are you a Republican or Democrat? What are you? Are you Catholic or Mormon? What are you, dude? You never ask that question. You have one word, trust. Can I trust you? And that's why they had your back. And people don't care where you follow your, whatever you want to go for it. But I'm not going to put you in a situation to make you feel bad. I got to trust you. And that's the key. So I learned trust, and that's how I went to Notre Dame. But I had to get there differently than most kids. I got there through a death of my friend who died on the job, and I had to make a big decision. Should I stay here and work, or should I go for my dream? Because here's the key. I am not going to live in regret. Life is too short. And that's what he told me all the time. Rudy, you should go for your dream. You're going to live in regret. And that's what kicked in. Now, did I have the right to go to Notre Dame? No. I had no grades, no money. But one thing I did have was a GI Bill. My parents couldn't give me money, but that GI Bill saved me. So did I make a good choice going in the Navy? Yes. And, you know, those things pay off later on. And when I went to Notre Dame, went to the junior college, here's the other thing that saved me. The guy that was behind the desk at the junior college was in the Navy. How awesome is that? So he understood where I came from, understood what I had to do, and he never asked me my past. Because if he asked me my past, he'd, oh, dude, what are you doing here? He just said, we need a game plan is what we need, and we got to put you in a situation so you could win. That's a pretty big deal. A game plan so I can win, and that's what he did. 4 semesters at the junior college. Now, if I would have gone back to my high school and asked my high school counselor, can I go to Notre Dame? What do you think he would have said? Are you nuts? You don't go back to those people and ask them for advice. You go to the winners, and you don't know where those winners come from until God puts you in that situation, and I say that, and look, there's a God wink in all your life if you believe in God, right? And you just have to believe. That's what carries along. Look, and I have never met a soldier that never prayed when things were tough. You know, there is a God, and you're not him. You know, and
That's
guess
a good
what?
reminder, too.
Absolutely.
You're not him.
You're not him, bro. But if you believe, we're going to get through it, because it gives you that confidence. Guys, it's confidence. That's the key. All you guys that went through the academy, you know what I'm saying. You got beat by Notre Dame a couple weeks ago.
Oh, Rudy.
Right?
Now. Oh,
Hold
you
on.
had to bring it up.
Absolutely. But Notre Dame lost and Navy won. You know how? They're the heroes. They're going to go out and fight for this country. Notre Dame players, they want their NIL money. They want this money. They're going to lose later on because they don't know how to fight. They don't know how to fight when it gets hard. They don't know what it takes. I'm not saying all of them. I'm saying, hey, if I'm hitting that Navy guy, I'm saying, hey, brother, I'm still your buddy, right?
Yeah.
I got to do my job. I respect. There's a thing called respect. Whether you win or lose, you have respect, right or wrong. And that's what the Notre Dame players had from you, is respect. And it's not the scoreboard, guys, because you know on the scoreboard, it's a lucky thing. Guy catches the ball by luck, or the guy goes off sides. Guys, it's not about that scoreboard. It's about what? Your heart. You keep moving. You keep doing your job, because when it comes, where are you guys going? Guys are leaving.
That's okay, Rudy.
Is that okay?
Don't hold it against
You
them.
must be Notre Dame.
Hey, so
guys.
Rudy, I want to. Yeah, they're Notre
I'll yell at
Dame
you,
midshipmen. So, Rudy, I
I'm
want
only
to.
kidding.
You talked a second ago about confidence and the confidence that you gained in the Navy. And before we came in here, you told us a story about an interaction you had with an officer on a ship
on
in the
the
North
ship, yeah.
Atlantic. Could you tell that story
Yeah,
to the
this-
group?
this
Because
is-
I think that's a great.
I think this is a key.
A great
Yeah.
story for the future officers.
Yeah,
in the
this
room.
is very key, guys. My first ship was in Boston. It was a light cruiser called the Northampton. It was the communication command ship. We were in dry dock. 6 months in dry dock, so you put the ship back together. They send you out to Guantanamo Bay to do a shakedown cruise. You come back, they decommissioned it. Now, I'm on the decommissioned staff because I'm in the maintenance data collection systems office. I'll never forget, where can I go now? What am I going to do now? The guy said, well, where do you want to go? The officer said, I want to go to the Mediterranean. Good, he put me on a destroyer. I don't know if you know what a destroyer is, but it's the true naval kid. Man, it's a smaller ship. When it hits the waves, man, you're going to get seasick. You're hitting 30-foot wave, 40-foot, and you're hitting, and you're really being challenged. Now, I was also the helmsman. When you're on a destroyer, you do any guys on a destroyer here would know what I'm saying.
Probably some future officers.
Future officers.
Yeah, yep.
Well, they're going to
Some
go on
future-
a destroyer. Yeah, I can't wait for
future
them to get
slows in the room.
seasick, right? When you get seasick, there's a question that's going to be asked to you by an enlisted guy. Whether he's a helmsman or whether he's a signalman, whether he's a quartermaster, he's going to ask you this question. I'm going to see how you respond. These guys all have dreams. Just because they're doing what they're doing doesn't say they don't have dreams. I had a dream to go to Notre Dame because I had confidence. We went to Guantanamo Bay. I didn't go out and play with I went out and ran around the base dreaming about playing for Notre Dame. I get on the destroyer, and we're crossing the North Atlantic, and it's hard, and I'm seasick. And I'm doing the helmsman, and the officer of the deck came, put his hand on the wheel. He said, son, sailor, go right degrees rudder, like I said. I said, yes, sir. I was going left instead of right, or I'm dyslexic, all right? So you really have to think about where you have to go. But my point, I was seasick. He had a Notre Dame ring on. I said, sir, is that a Notre Dame? I've never seen a Notre Dame ring or a Notre Dame person. I thought they were special guys, like you go when you go to church. Only special guys go to Notre Dame. I believed all that. And I said, did you go to Notre Dame? He said, yes. You think I can go there? He said, absolutely. Just steer the ship, shipmate. And I got to tell you, that empowerment got me to Notre Dame. Is that cool? So when you say empowering words to young men that have dreams, it's like someday you're going to have a son, and your son has glasses. He says, I want to be a pilot for the Navy. Don't you dare say he can't, because there's corrections now. They can make their eyes better. Everything's possible if they have the dream. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's
So I
awesome.
learned empowerment words help get you through the real life, if that makes sense.
Awesome, Rudy. Thanks.
you.
So now I want to transition a little bit and talk about your time at Notre Dame and
Right.
being on the football team. Can you tell us about that experience and how your experience in the Navy helped you get through that and
Yes.
the challenges of being on a team,
Yeah.
different than the Navy team, but being on the
Yeah,
football
yes.
team?
When you go to a university like Notre Dame, it's more entitlement. There's a lot of entitled athletes on there. In the Navy, there's merit. You still got to go to class. You still got to do your stuff. And in Notre Dame, it's a little different. But my point, and all the kids go to class, trust me, they got to get the grades. But there's a lot of entitled athletes. So I said to myself, I'm going to help these kids become better players. I'm going to help these kids learn that hard work is worth it. But the only way, it's not talking, it's doing. You go to practice and show up and work hard. That's all you need to do. Go to practice, work hard, and never quit working hard. Just get better. Whether you're going to play or not, but prepare like you're going to play. Act like an All-American. That was my attitude. Now, there was no way I was going to play. There was no way I was going to be an All-American. But in my mind, just like in the Navy, I saw myself as an All-American, as the starter. That doesn't happen. Certain things has to happen. And you know what? If you're not prepared for that one moment that happened, you won't ever do it. Preparation is the key. Hard work is the key. You get better every day at what you do. 10, 15 years from now, you can say, wow, am I glad I did that? Because when I worked hard at practice, when the time came for me to dress, I was ready for that football game. They didn't dress me till that Friday night. Now, the NCAA came up with this crazy rule, only 60 guys could dress, where Coach Parsegian promised every senior would dress for their final home game. That's what made them come to practice. But there's another level to that. Whether you're going to dress or not, you still go to practice and work hard. You still go to practice and contribute. And that's where my mindset was. And that's where the military was in my mind, because you never know. When you go to general quarters, you got to be ready. When you're standing watch and it's cold outside, you can't give up. You got to look for those buoys in the water, or that ship is going to hit that buoy. There's a real critical point of how you think, and there's enough credit to the little guy that saves your life. Does that make sense? So I was that little guy that kept going to practice. No one knew I was in the Navy. I didn't go out and tell them where I was. I didn't have to. I already knew who I was. I don't have to tell guy. I heard him up here talk about don't complain or whine. I was never a complainer or whiner. But when the time came for me to dress, one guy gave up his uniform. I'm going to say this in public because it's on national TV right now. And when you watch a Joe Montana interview, his documentary, he said, only reason I got to dress is because he was hurt. Not true. Then he said it was a joke that I played. Not true. Nothing's a joke, guys, when you have a dream. Nothing's a joke when you work your butt off and go to practice every day and contribute. Quit living up to the athlete and living through that athlete. Look at who they are. You can win all the Super Bowls you win, but they won't make your movie. They made mine. There's a big difference, okay? Our country needs contribution, coming together, be united. Don't judge. That's what Rudy does. When you don't have that attitude, everybody is somebody. We all want to be somebody. So when you don't say, because I'm a Hall of Famer, you're nobody. Not true. Look at these guys, how humble they are. I heard them talk about humility. So true. Humility is a big key to your success and where you're going. Just because you graduate from the Naval Academy, that doesn't mean you're somebody. No, you are respected because we know what you went through. That uniform is incredible that you wear. I watched the Navy game, and those guys wore that football uniform with pride. Notre Dame wore their uniform cutting their pants half off. What's that about? They did not respect that uniform. That's what I'm talking about. Dude, That's a brand. You don't disrespect your brand by going to a football game, playing Navy in your Bermuda shorts. Are you kidding me? But you can't tell that because, oh, we're winning, we're okay. We got to get rid of that attitude. You do what's right. That brand, we worked hard for that brand. You worked hard for what you're doing. So don't sit there and because it makes me happy. Nothing makes you happy. You do the hard work and sacrifice. And, you help your fellow teammates, fellow shipmates. All you got, empower them. That's your secret to being a leader. Go ahead.
Rudy, so can you...
Did I get off track?
No, not at all.
No.
You're doing great.
Right.
One thing you did...
Whatever track you're on is the right track.
Right track. Can you talk to us? You talked about how your story got made into a movie. Can you talk to us about that process,
Yeah, real
how that
quick.
happened?
Yeah, you ready? A hotel manager. You ready?
Ready.
Hotel manager, a mailman, and a Michigan State guy got Rudy made. Did you hear what I said?
Hotel manager, mailman, and Michigan State person.
Michigan State guy.
I want to hear the story.
Okay, the hotel manager always wanted to hear my story. I just got the final decision from Notre Dame. No. Not because they're great, they love me, don't get me wrong, but we're not going to do another movie here. We got our Gipper, Ronald Reagan. Right? Fine. You have to accept that and move forward. They don't understand yet what this message is about. That's okay. Just step back and keep telling the guy who wants to hear your story. One day he's going to say to you, Rudy, my brother's coming to town. You need to talk to him. He wants to talk to you. I said, yeah, no problem. Now, this is right when I got the final word from Notre Dame, no. And I didn't give up. I just kept going. I said, well, there could be, something's going to change, but you never know who's going to change it for you. Always thank someone for their smile. Remember that. Always thank someone for their gratitude. Does that make sense? All right. You have to smile more, man. Just smile. Yeah, there you go. Now watch what happens. Things change, doesn't it? Didn't it don't you look at me differently when you smile? Isn't that awesome? Good looking, aren't I? Absolutely. So when I go to this hotel man, told the hotel manager's brother my story, you know what he said? That is a movie. I said, wait, man, I've been out to Hollywood for 8 years, and they said, no, sports movies don't make it. We already did our Rocky movie and all that. They don't make it. I said, okay. So I learned not to go back to that guy. So he says, my friend who developed Hoosiers will be in California. That's where he lives. I want you to talk to him. Will you go and talk to him if I set up the meeting? I said, absolutely. Why not? He set me up with the writer of Hoosiers. You ever seen the movie Hoosiers?
Yeah.
Good movie, right? But not a true movie. He had to make all that up. It's true.
Yeah.
He didn't have a story, so he had a great imagination, right? I said, wow, that could be the guy, because I need an imagination for my movie, too, right? I go to Santa Monica, California. I'm waiting for him in this restaurant. I don't know, it's been 3-4 hours, he doesn't show up. What would you do if your appointment doesn't show up? Would you have a pity party? Would you feel sorry for yourself? Would you say to yourself, oh, I knew this was stupid? Or would you say, what a crazy idea this was, right? You don't say those things. Here's what you say, I will go find him. That's what you do. Instead of feeling, you get up, off your butt, and out that door and go find him. But you don't tell your buddy where you're going, because he's going to give you a goofy thought. Dude, what are you doing? There's millions of people in California. And I said, hey, dude, just order some more coffee. I'll be right back. And who comes across is a mail carrier, smiling and whistling. I said, thank you, dude. I needed that. He said, where are you from, man? I said, Indiana. So I'm from Michigan. We had a relationship. That's what I learned by selling insurance. Relationships are the key. Now, here's the second thing to that, too. Is it okay if I tell him?
Yeah.
Okay. So the mailman and I are talking, and he likes me. He likes me. For some reason, he trusted me. And here's what he said. My story is your story. That story you just told me, I like that guy that was going to meet you, that doesn't meet you, I know where he lives. I pass his mail out every day. So if you follow me, I will show you where he lives, but I'm going to keep going, and you go knock on the door. I said, done. So I follow him. He points. Sure enough, it was Angelo Pizzo's door. And I knock, and he said, who is it? I said, Rudy. He said, oh, and all the excuses come, all the apologies. I've been up all night rewriting the script. Oh, my God, he says, I'm so sorry. He says, first of all, he says, I hate Notre Dame. Number one, I hate Notre Dame, and I'm not going to write another sports story because I'm not going to do any more sports movies out here. Those two things would have discouraged a lot of people. But I said, that's a good guy. I like him. At least he's talking to me. We went to lunch. He talked about himself for 3 hours. I left him. But you know what I left with was a relationship. 2 years later, he calls me. You know those I'm 76, so you went answering machines. And you hit that thing, and it's Angela. He said, Rudy, call me. And I called him and said, you won't believe this. I've just been commissioned to write your story. That's how it happens. Wow. Now, here's the other secret to that. I said, how did all that happen? I'll explain to you later. Just get a lawyer. They got to put it together. They want to get going. But I never told him about how Notre Dame was feeling about this movie. You don't tell him the bad news, right? He comes, he writes a script. He's all excited. I said, how did it get done finally? He said, there's a guy that applied to Notre Dame but got turned down. He applied to Michigan State and got accepted, and he was a walk-on. When I told him I had a walk-on movie, when he asked us to come to his office, he had $25 million, and he could distribute the movie, but he needs another sports movie like Hoosiers. He says, do you have another sports movie like you did with Hoosiers? I said, oh, we got this goofy guy from Notre Dame that knocked on our door, was a walk-on. Say he was a walk-on. Write it. That's how quick it went. Wow, so we write the movie, we get it all approved. Now we got to go to Notre Dame until we need, production time. You know what? I had to tell Hollywood this. You can't. What do you think they said? Watch Rudy, us. Why didn't you tell us that? Why would I tell you something that's not good? I said, I will get the approval for you. Just give me some time. He says, you got 48 hours. It's another angel that will come into your life that will help you get this done. You got to have that trust. It's a big trust factor. You can't do a market study. You can't do that and analyze it and call your friends because they're going to tell you it's impossible. Why would you do that? You go to Notre Dame, put your trust in God, bam, it happens. That's how Rudy got made. There you go.
There you go.
Great story.
Thanks, Rudy. Excuse me.
I think we have time for one question.
Yeah, we got a couple minutes.
We have
got time for
one
question. If anybody from the audience has a question, well, wherever the mic gets passed first, maybe.
There you go.
Good afternoon, sir. I'd like to thank you for coming out here. I'm Jay Nyland. I'm a cadet at Virginia Tech. And I'd like to touch on something that you mentioned in your speech. Something that really stuck with me is that you never want to live in regret. And I'd like to pick your brain a little bit about that. My question for you is, would you rather make the wrong decision but know you did it for the rest of your life, or go throughout life wondering whether that decision was the right one or not?
That's a great question. The question is, would you rather make the wrong decision and not make it, and you won't live in regret? That decision you made will lead you to other opportunities, by the way. Because you went for your dream, you didn't make it, there's another dream for you. I made a movie, I made a tackle, but what was the secret to making that tackle? Going to work every day, showing up, just like you did at work, and do your job, and prepare for that one moment. Now, it only took 7 seconds to create a legacy. That's all it takes, And my point, we don't see that sometimes. In life, you get other opportunities when you go for it. You never live in regret when you go for what you want. And if you fail, there's another opportunity there. So that's my answer to that.
Awesome. And we got time for one more.
Hey, Mr. Ruettiger, thank you. I think most of us expect Notre Dame to handle Florida State tonight pretty easily. But who do you like in the Holy War between BYU and Utah?
Wow.
Oh, BYU.
You know what? Utah has a chip on their shoulder. so watch it. They lost 4 games, right?
Right.
Look out, BYU.
Okay.
Look out, that's all I'm saying.
Thank you.